Okay, welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm Beth Cooper, and this is Stacey Earlywine.
Hello. How is everybody today? Well,
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. We have some really fun stuff to talk about today. So
We absolutely do.
if you're just joining us for the first time, our show is about a little bit of everything. But Stacey and I love anything vintage, and we love history. So we talk a lot about the history of Clay County.
Yes, we do. We love everything. We're so much alike.
We are.
It's really crazy. I'm actually surprised we're not dressed alike today.
Yeah, we did that last week. We didn't plan it. We didn't. We sometimes finish each other's
Sentences.
sandwiches. We're supposed to say sandwiches.
Sandwiches?
From the movie Frozen. Do you know that song?
You know what? My children are out of the Frozen era.
Oh,
so yeah, I do let it go, but
love that
that's
song.
about it.
Yeah.
But so it's exciting. We're very happy to be here, and we have a lot of stuff to share with you today.
We do. So today we're going to start off talking about what do you want to start up? Do we usually start with our ad?
We go
don't
with
we?
our Better
Let's talk about
Homes
that.
and Garden. Do a little
Yes.
zooming in, Beth.
Yes.
Look
Check
at this
out this.
magazine. Okay.
a little glary.
There
There
we
we
are.
go. Yes.
Look at that. I mean, why are we not there right now?
It's so beautiful. Look at all those mums.
I know. I pulled out. I know. I'm backwards. It's a fall magazine, but I just saw this and I was like, what a beautiful, beautiful view. Look at that house.
Yeah, it's very mid-century mod with the whole roof, flat roof. And,
Yeah.
what's that one designer, that architect?
I knew you were gonna-
Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yeah. This is November 1954. Let me put on my shades, my glasses here.
Put your glasses on and tell us something
Let
that
me-
was going on in 1954.
Okay, let's look at some ads here. These ads in these magazines, I could just go through them all day long. They're great. Okay, Beth, look at this, what I found.
What do we got?
Okay.
Which one is it?
This one, let's zoom in on this baby.
Okay.
Look at this ad, guys. Look at this ad. Let me get my woohoo. Pittsburgh plate.
Here we go.
Wrong one.
There
Pittsburgh
we go.
plate glass.
Yes.
Look at this picture. Beth and I were talking about this picture earlier. And, well, first of all, the women, seriously, you women in the 50s make us all look bad.
She's got her pearls on.
I'm sure there's some black pumps on.
I think that might even be black velvet.
Oh, I bet it is.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, this is just amazing. I was telling Beth, I said the ad is actually a home needs Pittsburgh plate glass. I don't know how many people have large glass walls anymore, but that's literally over the entire fireplace. I do remember my Uncle Floyd lived in a home, but it was the 70s, so I'm a little bit surprised by this picture because he lived, it was in the 70s, and he had one whole wall that was glass, but then had that really gold design through it, which I
Yeah.
thought was really, really super cool.
Yeah.
But let's just read
Okay.
a little bit about this.
Let's look at that again.
For reflective beauty and for convenience, a home needs Pittsburgh plate glass. Presto! And this living room acquired more depth, life, and brilliance. What was the magic that caused this transformation? Just a mirror of Pittsburgh plate glass placed over the mantel. See how all the color and beauty of the room's appointments are reflected here.
I wonder why they didn't just call it a mirror. I mean, Pittsburgh plate glass. Like, would we have? I guess everyone knew that meant a mirror. I don't know. To me, that's strange. But look at this picture. Like, I love the love seat. It only has one arm.
I know, it's great.
And you can tell a little bit about that little side table there that has like two levels. I think all of our grandparents had a side table like that.
Absolutely. Oh, and then look in the background. Well, I guess you're looking in the mirror. It's the reflection of the mirror. But look how cool the background is. Like, because I remember like walls, would be like where they have all the plants and the bookcases and that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think everything about this picture
Yeah.
is pretty cool. But I just am absolutely blown away by the way the women were in the 50s.
I know.
Everything was so prestigious.
They were all perfect looking. And do you think they really were in real life, though? I mean, like,
gosh.
I'd like to ask my grandma that. Like, in the 1950s, like, did she really dress like that just for around the house?
I don't know. My parents graduated high school in the 50s, I think.
Okay.
I can't remember date. My dad might have been 52. and my mom might have been 56. I'm not really sure what the dates are. I'd have to go to the high school and go down the hallway of fame.
Where the pictures are.
Speaking of that hallway, and I need to find out what's going on. I think now I'm in the generation of the old generation.
Oh, you are?
I think I'm moving to the old hallway with my sisters and my aunts and my uncles and my parents. But something happened to the class of 1985.
Oh, they moved it, huh?
Well, but I can't find the pictures. It's not in the hallway between the two gyms, and it's not down the Walk of Fame hallway.
Shout out to Flora High School.
Flora
what happened
High
to
School.
Stacey's picture?
Exactly. So everybody from the class of 1985, which we all love each other, we had the best class. We'll talk about classes some other time.
Let's do an episode on classes.
We will, because I'll tell you what, you
fun.
can't beat the class of 1985. We are very tight knit.
Well, that's good.
Everybody
some classes are, and
no
others
clicks,
aren't.
no clicks, no drama. I don't remember there ever being any drama in our class. We really got along really well. That's why people say, "Would you go back to high school?" It's like, yeah, I loved high school. It was great. We all got along really well. Most people be like, "Well, I would never go back to high school, no matter what."
That would be me.
That would be Beth. But yeah, we had a really, really, really good time. It was great. But yeah, so we got to find the class of 1985. Joel Hackney, this is for you. Find my portrait, please.
Yes. Yeah. Where is it? So, what else are we talking about today? Street names?
Street names.
Yeah.
And, I think the craziest thing about street names, they were difficult to find information about.
They were. When we started planning an episode around street names and the origins of their names, we thought, well, that'll be easy breezy. We'll just start researching and call some people. And, well, we've talked to a lot of people over the last couple of weeks about this. And we have read a lot of books on the history of Clay County.
Yes.
We've read old newspaper articles. We have covered our bases, and we have came up with some things to tell you, but not as much as I expected.
I was really surprised. You know what? Before we go into what we did, should we tell the folks what we did the other day, what we joined?
Yes, we should. Let's talk about that.
Talk about that.
Stacey and I are now members of the Clay County Genealogical Society.
Dun, dun, dun. Yes, we are.
We are. So there is a library right downtown in Louisville on the square, and it is called the Clay County Genealogical Library. And it's fantastic in there. They've recently done a membership drive. If you're interested in history, you should stop by. I think their hours are Saturday, 10 to 2 is when they usually try to be there. And it's just full of books and photos and maps and genealogical lines of all different kinds of families. One of the things I found the most interesting when we were in there were the death records.
Absolutely.
And, that sounds morbid and a little crazy, but I was reading ones from the early 1900s, and they listed, what everyone was dying of. And it was so sad because
that's right.
Today, most of that would have just been a quick trip to the doctor and fixed. But there was measles, and there was
fires,
dysentery. Yeah, there was a
fire.
People dying from falling into the fire.
That's the other thing with doing research and stuff. How many things were just burned to the ground?
Oh yeah,
how much history just burned? But yeah, there was. I remember you reading a few things about the fire.
There was one little baby that was only 2 years old, and she fell into a fire and died.
Yeah,
I'm just so
can't
sad.
imagine. Yeah, when I walked in that place and started milling around, what I noticed was all the work.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness. And they have got it set like you've never seen before. I mean, you can literally find anything you want in that place. I mean, the time that those ladies and gentlemen have put into that place.
Hours and hours and hours. And, they're doing a membership drive right now because I think that they said their building needs some work.
Yes.
So even if you're not interested in maybe joining and being a member there, or don't have the time to devote to a hobby like that, consider just dropping off a little money to them, $20, $10. They're trying to fix up their building. It's an older building, and I think that, the money would go far with them.
And you're talking like the generation that put all that genealogy together, that generation is getting older. And so I think it's time for some of us in our 30s, 40s, 50s to step in and start taking care. I mean, if we don't love our county, who will? Those of us that are here, those of us that stay behind to raise our families here and things. I think we really need to We need to really help the ladies out and stuff, and just stop in there. You will be fascinated.
Yeah, it's really cool. Even if you just go in to look at the pictures on the walls, and that's
Absolutely.
it's pretty cool. But another thing, like if you're wondering about your family history and you want to like research your genealogical line and find out your ancestors, there's a good chance that it may have already been done for you. A lot of it. I mean, you can go in there and there's just great big books on each family, especially common family names in this area. But they also had families from other parts of Illinois and even other states. And if you want to know something about your ancestors, you could probably just go in there and it might already be done for you.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of it.
Jim got into the genealogy. He traced like the Hemphill line, and he traced the early wine line, and he started tracing the Franklin line. And yeah, it is absolutely fascinating knowing where you come from.
Oh, yeah. A few years ago, I did one of my lines because I was trying to make sure that I had a Revolutionary War soldier in my line, because then that made me eligible to join the Daughters of the American Revolution, which we could maybe even talk further on that another time, because that's a pretty cool group. But in the meantime, I found my Revolutionary War soldier, and he was like it's like one of those embarrassing things to even say, but like he was like in his 60s, I think, and he married like some like 14-year-old girl.
Really?
Yes, and I was just sick when I read it.
And you're related to the 60-year-old that?
Yes, he would be. He would be like my great like times 10. Like it was way back there.
Wow, really?
Yeah, his name was Catfish, I think they called.
Well, okay. Seriously,
it's a crazy story, I know, but I'm
so
telling
is that where
you,
the catfish?
I don't
catfish
know, probably
came
not.
from?
No, but I'm telling you guys this because it doesn't matter what family you're from. You dig, you're gonna find some dark stuff, and you're gonna find some crazy stuff that makes you cringe. You're like, what? No,
did they have a lot of children?
Yes, yeah.
Wow. How old? Do you know how old did he live?
I don't remember. I'll have to pull it out and.
Well, I'm thinking if he was married to a 14-year-old,
I don't know that she had to be married to him that long, because I don't think he lived a whole lot longer after that.
Yeah.
But long enough that they did have kids.
Wow.
But yeah.
I wanted to dive into the marriage records just to make sure Jim and I were really married. He didn't pull a fast one on me.
I'm pretty sure you're really married.
Yeah, we are really married. But yeah, all just drop in there to the Genealogy Society. It's right on the square downtown Louisville, and when we come back from our commercial break, we are going to talk about street names.
Yep.
And I am looking forward to it, and we're going to see what information we can give out to you and fun facts.
Sounds good. We'll be right back.
All righty.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
It's the weekend and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experienced that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to CRHPC, you are welcome to utilize our services. Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
The insurance specialists have options to tailor to your needs at CSI Insurance Brokers. Experienced insurance brokers at CSI are skilled with all types of insurance plans and policies and represent many companies, including Safeco Insurance. You'll benefit from their detailed expertise, unbeatable premiums, and commitment to customer service. CSI Insurance Brokers and Safeco Insurance Company, providing affordable rates on quality insurance since 1952.
Okay, welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm Beth.
I'm Stacey. All right,
okay, let's get into these street names.
Yes. Can we dive into the street name because I live on that street?
Yeah, let's start with that one.
Let's start with this. Okay, so I live on Fair Avenue in Flora, in the south end of town, and been there. I've been in the south. I'm a South Ender my whole entire life, so I wasn't ever leaving. And I live on Fair Avenue, and I used to have a scooter. I used to walk a lot, ride my bike, and I always noticed that there was Fair Avenue, Park Avenue, and Fairview. And I'm like, why are all these associated with fair?
Right.
Well, comes to find out that our main fairgrounds back in the 1900s were in the south end of town.
Yep.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Till I found this out whenever the 4th of July started being held down at the down to the south end of
During
town.
COVID, they moved the 4th of July fireworks down to the south side of town.
Yes, down to the south end of town. And there was a gentleman who's a farmer back there just south of me, and he was making well, Stacey, that's where the fairgrounds used to be. And I'm like, really? He said, oh, yeah, because he used to take a metal detector and go down there all the time.
Yeah.
And he would look for things, and he would just find so many things in his field and stuff. But
sure.
yeah,
So
and it was grand. It was absolutely grand. So if you go down South Main, the main entrance to the gate was from South Main onto Fair Avenue.
Okay.
So if you like when you turn onto Fair Avenue, you would literally walk. That would be the main gates, and right there was the big grandstand. And I think we have a picture of that.
We do have a picture of the grandstand. Let me find it.
There she is.
Yeah,
look at that.
Yeah, so this was Fair Avenue back in the day.
Absolutely.
Looked like they had maybe a racetrack there. You think they raced horses?
They did race horses because on a future episode we'll do.
Is that a buggy out there right in that picture? I know these pictures are a little blurry, but it's history. What do you get? What
it
you
is
get.
history.
So, here's another.
Are our mics on? That's blue.
Yeah, it's on.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's white. It's good. Okay,
yeah,
but look at that. That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And there was one picture that I forgot to submit, and it was just full of people. I couldn't believe it, but yeah, that is a really neat. And they had that whole track there, and they had that track.
Business.
And
there we go.
But how exciting! I mean, it was like so now that I know this information, whenever I turn onto my street, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, there was this huge grandstand back there in the 1900s.
Yeah, that's a cool picture.
It is. It makes you wonder how many acres that actually went back, and then
I know.
why
so
get
there
rid of
was
that?
a park back there too.
Yeah.
And it had a huge reservoir. Right?
Yeah, the reservoir's back there. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's still part of the reservoir there.
It's very fascinating.
But it has a big chunk of it got filled in. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lots of drownings happened at the reservoir.
So there was this huge bridge that went like over a span of the reservoir. And through different research that I've done, there are a ton of people that have drowned there.
Yes.
And they're almost all of them buried in Elmwood Cemetery in Flora.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of how I came across the research when I was working on things for the Shadows of Elmwood tour. But yeah, there was part suicides of that, and little kids that's there wasn't a swimming pool back then, so the kids from all over town would walk to the reservoir to
swim. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but did a train track? There's that small train track that runs through the south, kind of like you would back in a long time ago, like when you would cross over in front of Huck's, between Huck's and Blue Mountain, there was a little railroad track. I think that track actually went all the way down south because I think, and the train went over the water.
And the thing about the reservoirs, why they needed such a big one, I don't think it was so much as to supply water to the town, which I suspect it did, but they used it for cooling the coal on the trains.
Yes.
Yeah, there was something about that.
That's pretty interesting.
The trains. So
I remember as a little girl, we would go down there, but we were forbidden. Forbidden to go. So there was only a couple times that some ornery South Enders were like, "Hey, let's go to the reservoir," and I went down there. And I remember my dad saying, "Don't even think about going down there. How dangerous it was."
Yes.
But I did creep off my bike and just go look a little bit. But I was pretty much a rule follower when I was a little girl. I pretty much did. If my parents told me not to do something, they were very liberal with we had fun. I had a great childhood. But when my dad said, absolutely, do not go.
You took it seriously.
You took it seriously because it was for my own safety.
Right.
But yeah, very interesting.
So is that how Park Avenue, I suppose, got its name?
Park
Avenue is further south, though, than Fair Avenue.
Yeah, I know. So it must have been that entire area. So you have you have Fair Avenue, Park Avenue, and then you have Adams thrown in there because I'm assuming Adams must have been like the founder of that area since that's and then Fairview. Fairview is actually like if you go down South Main and then it winds back to the east. That's
right there
Fairview.
In front of the Public Works.
Right by Public Works is Fairview. So my assumption is that entire area was all fairgrounds and a park.
No homes at all. Just
no homes at all.
The park and the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which is
the more you know, the more you grow. Right?
Absolutely, that's what I think.
That's pretty cool. Okay, let's talk about another street. What about Valbert Street?
Valbert Street.
Okay, so Valbert Street is also on the south side of Flora, and
little street.
Yeah, it's a short street. It doesn't go all the way through, but it's named after the J. Valbert family, who started Valbert's feed store. Back then, it was Valbert's grocery store. They sold everything, like flour. He was actually known for his flour and sugar because he would order in like the higher quality brands.
Really?
Yeah. So like, back then there were grocery stores like in every neighborhood, but there were people that would travel across town just to get their flour and sugar from him because it was the good quality and their bread would be better.
Yeah, the Valbert family was on the cemetery tour last year too.
Last year or the year before? I don't know.
But they must have lived.
So they did. They lived on Valbert Street, but they also built their first business there. And that entire little section is called, I think, if you look it up on the plat book, J. Valbert Edition.
Yeah.
And Jay was the great grandfather of the current owner, Steve Valbert, of Valbert's Feed Store. So
fun.
Cool little family history. And, when you see a street sign, you don't know, if it's going to be somebody that's still around here locally, like the Valbert family, or some family that lived here a long time ago, and then you never really heard from them again.
Well, another street, just I don't have a lot of information, but Scudamore. Scudamore is the owners of the Scudamore building, which we will cover the Scudamore. The Scudamore building may have to be its own episode. Hour. Yes,
we have a lot of information about.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, the Scudamores. Yeah, it was located on the northeast corner there of East North Avenue and North Locust. Right, the empty. We talked about it a little bit. We touched on one of our episodes. It's an empty lot now where the medical center's at. But
that was a
the
big building.
Scudamore building was absolutely.
And the interesting thing about Scudamore Street is it's very windy. Like, what's up with that? It has different parts. Like, there's one side that's on the east side of town, and then there's another one on the west side of town that doesn't even seem to. Does it even connect?
It does.
To the other one?
It doesn't. It's very weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
Because you could actually Scudamore is also like you go down Blue Mound and then you get on Scudamore, but then it just goes
Yeah, it kind of comes out and winds around to Washington Street or something.
Yeah,
and then you're like, okay.
Yeah, and then you almost feel like you're in an alley. Another street that's like that is Sycamore. I got on my golf cart the other day and was driving around, and Sycamore is like, okay, there's a little bit of Sycamore here, then there's houses, and then you pick up Sycamore like back behind Locust Street, which it used to be just an alley, and then a couple.
So you're talking about South Sycamore on the south
Sycamore,
side of town.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was picturing North Sycamore, and I'm like, it's a straight shot. Okay.
No, South Sycamore is just, and then behind my parents' house, it picks back up again, and my parents' old house there on South Locust, but it used to be literally a gravel driveway. Then it stops, and then Sycamore picks back up again behind Chris Engelmeyer's house. Because I actually was like, I never have really been back here, so I just drove back there, and Chris was in her backyard picking up sticks, and so of course we stopped and chatted for.
morning.
Like, hey, what's going on? Golf cart friendly. This is legal. Flora just passed where you could drive golf carts
Yeah, that's
down.
awesome. That's going to be a big thing this summer.
It is, because guess who is number one buyer?
You?
Yes.
Good for you.
Number one.
You're going to save so much money on gas.
I am. And it was just fun to tool around. I went by your house, but your car was gone. Because I was going to pick you up and we were going to go tooling.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Try again. I'll be there.
I will. But I'm like, sycamore break. And then it starts back up again. And then it breaks again right there where the lumberyard. Not the lumberyard, I'm sorry, where Luttrell has his apartments now.
Oh,
so then that breaks it up. So it's broke up like 4 or 5. It's broke up between the high school, then some houses, then some houses, and then.
That's got to make it really difficult on people that come to Flora that don't live here or have never lived here.
You know what? I never even thought about that.
Gosh, like, what do you mean the next block of Sycamore? Like it's over. Like, how do I continue on? That would be confusing.
The other one that I think is funny is in the south end of town, Short Street.
Oh, is it very short?
It's short. You turn right off South Main there by Carrie Thackeray's house. Short Street. I mean, because we'll discuss it after our commercial break, but how Flora is cattywampus.
Yes.
Which you'll get into that in a little bit. But Short Street is literally like, like the other ones are kind of wide, but then Short Street's like, doop. So whoever did that was either last name was short or they were just
it makes you wonder. What it probably was just the fact that it was very short.
Yeah, and I don't know. I couldn't find any information about Blue Mound.
No, I couldn't either. I looked. Why
is that called Blue Mound?
Yeah, I know. Like, there's Blue Point Church there at the far end of it,
right? But
County,
it's so far down.
Where does the word blue come into it?
I don't know. Well, because if anything, because the typical streets are Presidents, Washington, Lincoln, trees, Elm. If anything, with that Elmwood Cemetery being there, you would have thought it would have been maybe Elmwood.
Sure.
Elmwood Street.
Because Elmwood Cemetery has been there a long time, since 1854, I believe.
Absolutely. So it's kind of interesting. But we could not find any information about Blue Mound.
Yeah.
So that brings me to my next point, that if you know anything about street names or if you know anything about Blue Mound, reach out to Beth and I.
Yep.
By the way,
with Beth and Stacey. And you can always write to Wabash Telephone in care of Beth and Stacey. To be honest, I think it's a P.O. box, and I'll have to look it up. I'm not sure what their P.O. box number is, but you could always mail us something, or you can find us on Facebook, too.
Yeah, we're both on Facebook, just normal names or whatever.
Yeah,
but so you would have thought like Blue Mound, and I can't think when I was tooling around. But like I said, there was Washington. Of course, like Washington Street, you have Washington School on. Seminary Street, you had Seminary School on. And then you have your typical.
And Seminary Street is another one I really wanted to kind of get to the bottom of, because was there at one time a seminary in that area?
I don't know. I went to kindergarten.
I couldn't find any of this stuff. So if any viewers know anything about these origins, please let us know, because we have dug and dug and we can't come up with anything.
The rehabilitation centers there? That was Seminary School.
Yes, my brother went there when he was young.
I went there. I went to kindergarten there, and then I went to Washington School. Southenders. We went to Washington School. But yeah, pretty interesting stuff if you think about it. I don't know, but yeah, street names they're just random. Then you have Maxine Street, and it's like, okay, was that lady live there named Maxine?
Right.
I mean,
and then I don't know of any history where that's a last name in our area, the Maxine family. It's not on any plat books.
I don't know, but it's time for us to take a commercial break, my friend.
All righty, we'll be right back.
All right.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Right.
Okay.
That was not long, very, very long commercial break.
It wasn't. It was a short one. So anyway, welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey.
By the way, I hope we didn't leave any commercials out.
Yeah, I hope not. So if we did, we'll edit those back in.
We'll be okay. We'll be getting those back in. All right. So let's talk about why Main Street runs north and south and actual downtown. It's very difficult because
people from out of town are probably like, this town is on crack. Like, what is going on? Main Street's here, but the street that you think would be Main Street is called North Avenue, but it doesn't run north. It actually runs east and west.
Because it's really sad because it'd be like, I have a hair salon on East North Avenue, but be like, oh, downtown. Oh, Main Street? No, not Main Street.
Yeah.
Our Main Street doesn't go downtown. So
yeah.
Give us a little information about that one.
Okay. So basically our streets, when they were originally laid out, they followed along the railroad track. Mm-hmm. So because of that, our streets, if you look at them from an aerial view, they're not perfectly straight north and south. They're cattywampus kind of with the tracks. So the very first road that is north of the tracks, when they laid out the town, they named it North Avenue because it was north of the tracks. And then there was another road just on the south side of the tracks, and guess what they named it?
What?
South Avenue.
Wow.
So yeah, these clever cats were right on it. So they had North Avenue and South Avenue. Okay, so that's how that happened. And then, but also at the same time, Main Street was already there. But I think Main Street, which runs north and south, already had homes being built on it. So they wanted the business part to be closer to the tracks. So like our railroad was, after Flora was established, our railroad system was then built through Flora then? Is that, or was the railroad already there? Because Flora was established in 1854? 53 or 4, yeah.
Yeah.
The railroad is what started the town. I mean,
okay. Yeah.
So that.
Yeah. Boy, there's a lot of history on B&O Railroad.
Yes. So, anyway, that's how North Avenue became North Avenue. And then, of course, Main Street's the dividing point. So anything east of Main Street's East North Avenue, and anything west of Main Street is West North Avenue.
Wow.
But a lot of people say, that's so weird. It's like North Avenue, but it's like runs east and west. And I'm like, I know. But there is a reason for it. Back in the day, it was just the first road that was north of the tracks. So
that's very interesting.
Yeah. So that's why they named it what they did. And, there's another street like that kind of bugs me, and it's called West Street in Flora. It runs north and south.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why, people? Why? This is so confusing.
Well, that is a little weird.
Yes, so
that is slightly weird. So West Street runs north and south. Where is West Street? Is it in the north? West Street's on the north end of town.
It's on the north end of town, and it's kind of right there by what used to be Headley's Body Shop, and now it's Prope's Auto Body.
Oh, yeah.
That's West Street, and it goes all the way up north to 8th Street.
Yeah, I still associate streets with, like, who lives on them. Doesn't Kent Brinkley live on West? Does he live on West?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he lives on West Street. Yeah, that really pretty brick house. Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting.
I know. There's just, and another thing is I wanted to kind of get into the street names in Louisville. And I'd love to do one on Clay City too. So, I mean, Xenia, if you know of any of these, we'll do another episode on it. Because there's
you
so
will lose
many.
Your mind in Clay City. Because Clay City's like
weird.
South, West, East, 1st, 2nd Street type stuff. Clay City
I think they put every direction in there. They're like, this is East, Northwest, South, 1st Street.
It's not too far from the truth. I mean,
I'm so confused. I'm like,
Southwest
I don't know.
First, Southeast first. Yeah. So that'll be a fun episode to dive into.
I'm not sure why that town's laid out like that either, but my guess again is the railroad.
Everything comes down to the railroad for us, doesn't it? It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, yeah. What else we got here? I was going to say something about Louisville.
Oh, yeah. Say something about Louisville.
There was several streets in Louisville that I was interested in finding out more information. I wasn't able to, but like Louisville has a convent street.
That's right. Yeah, you mentioned that the other day.
And I was like, so was there a convent in Louisville? And I have talked to a few people. They don't think that there was ever a convent there. But no one actually knows why it's called that either. So
I would almost think if anybody had a convent, I mean, because that's Catholic, and Flora has does Louisville, because Flora actually has the Catholic church and had a Catholic school at one time. So you'd think if anybody had a convent.
I don't think that there was a Catholic church in Louisville that I know of.
I don't think there is one either. I don't know. Have to check that out. But yeah, you'd mentioned that when we were at the Genealogy Society the other day.
With our society ladies.
Dining. Which they did have really good food.
They had good food. Yes, they had like little crackers and dip, and they had chocolate dipped pretzels.
Oh, everything, and those little pinwheel things. Mm. Those they had the things that, like in our handy dandy Better Homes and Gardens edition magazine, they looked like they came out of that.
They did.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was
really good.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about, since we're in your neck of the woods, up there, because Beth lives in the north end of town.
I do. I live
Let's
in the
talk
north
a little
side.
bit about Ryder Street.
Ooh, okay.
Ryder Street. Sylvester and Anna Ryder came to Flora in 1865, and they bought 40 acres in called it corporate limits, city limits.
Okay.
On the northwest section of Flora. He was 51 and she was 53, which people thought they were so old.
Oh, those old people, the Ryders.
When I was there, those old people moving in town, the Ryders. And he began, so they bought 40 acres. So if you think about that, in that whole corner, 40 acres is a lot.
That's a big chunk of the whole area.
That's a big chunk of the whole area. And so they came into town.
Sylvester, huh?
Sylvester and Anna Ryder.
Why doesn't anyone name their baby boy Sylvester anymore? I think that's an awesome name.
It is. Well, I'm a Stallone fan, so I'm surprised. Jim probably would have said no on that one, but Sylvester Early Wine, Sly Early Wine. Maybe I'll start calling Jim that. Hey, Sly Early Wine.
That's funny.
But this is where it gets interesting. This is why he was prominent. He began his career in the banking business. He was the director of the First National Bank, Beth, and I think we have a picture of him.
We do. Here we go.
Look, nope.
It
there
always
he
wants
is.
to throw up the other one first. There we go.
That is exactly where First National Bank sits to this day.
Okay.
Of course, it's a totally different a building.
Yeah, they've remodeled. Okay, so there used to be. Look at the roof on that.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah. What do they call that architecturally?
Oh gosh,
I'll call it the pointy thing on top.
The pointy thing. So if he came in 1865, that's how that building's been there for a while. But I love the way they still kept. It makes you wonder, because then look how like you would walk into that corridor. It almost looks like you could walk down a corridor all the way on the bottom when you're walking north, which would actually be North Main Street.
Yes.
Now,
look
because
at those dirt roads.
I know, isn't that really neat?
And look at that little balcony on the second floor.
Oh yeah. So
fun.
it makes you wonder if, like, our bank now, which is First National, well, it's not First National Bank now, but this gentleman started First National Bank, and see how it goes, because like the Elks is in there and all those.
Yes, it later became U.S. Bank.
Later,
that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
So wouldn't it have been neat if that point would have stayed up there?
Oh yeah, and what's in the back there? A big water tower or something? Can you see that? Just kind of
that up in the air.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know. Chinese spy balloon.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was absolutely going. Well, what's interesting about that? So and they, of course, when they founded, they named Ryder Street after him. He and Anna, they had 12 children. Sylvester and Anna had 12 children, but not all of them survived to maturity.
Can you imagine? Okay, first of all, 12 children, wowzers.
No.
But also, the house that they probably originally built on Ryder Street was probably not a very large house. Because none of those houses
none of them are big.
And not that it has to still be there. It's possible it's been torn down, of course. But, I mean, back then people raised large families in tiny homes.
Yeah.
You know what I think it is?
Oh, my goodness.
I don't think they had anything like stuff. Like, my kids have so much stuff. It's insane. Like, we don't need all of it.
Yeah.
But, they just didn't. Their kids were playing outside. Like, they didn't have,
no.
This is my tub of markers. This is my tub of crayons. This is my tub of construction paper. Like,
right.
You just didn't have all the stuff. I guess that's just
that's exactly what the deal.
But wow,
there is some lineage on him. So the Ryder family had a grandson, and his name was Luke, and he was married to Veronica Bangert.
Okay.
So there's
That's
the Bangert.
A place city name.
That is. And so the Bangert family is relation to the Ryders. Because that's actually, when I was reading the article, Maurice Bangert, who has passed on, but he recognized it, and he wrote, he contacted people and was like, hey, that's my family. So then they talked about, there's the Bangert history there.
Okay.
On Ryder Street, and of course they're Clay City.
Do we have a street number for where they lived at on Ryder Street?
I do not have the street number. No, my mother bought a house and had a little house there that she rented out on Ryder.
Okay.
But I never really thought about that. Would it be interesting to see which one it would be? Because it
may not be there.
It may not be there.
I'll tell you what, though,
so
if I
many.
own 40 acres and I started a subdivision, my house number would be 1. I'm number 1. I'm the first one here.
That's right, like my golf cart.
Yeah.
I'm the number 1 golf cart.
Yes.
But
yeah, there you go.
No, but yeah, very fascinating. Fascinating people.
Someone was telling me about the whole Ryder Street neighborhood, like in the 70s and 80s. I guess that was the street to live on.
Yeah.
Like it was a happening place. Every house was a young family with kids. All the kids were outside all day, every day playing. Which, a lot of streets were like that, but I guess Ryder Street really had it going on. The kids that grew up on Ryder Street have a lot of fun memories.
A lot of history. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's neat how everybody, they're that congregating in that area. I wonder, there's probably, Devin and Destiny live on the corner of Ryder Street. And I know they're it's interesting. I wonder, that's the other thing that's different. We just don't see kids out a lot.
You need to move to my street.
Well, yeah,
because my street, we really do. It's like a rewind to 1985 on my street, which I'm not going to tell you the address because I don't want any creepers coming by and stealing all my kids that are outside all the time. But on my street, the kids really do play outside a lot. And we constantly have a Foursquare game going on our driveway. And in the summer, the kids are up and down the street on their bikes. And it's just fun when there's a lot of kids in the neighborhood and the parents let them play outside.
Yeah. My boys were raised in that. My boys played outside. We were the hangout place. Every kid in the neighborhood. There were 15 bikes in my yard. Oh, yeah. I liked it that way. I liked the kids being around, but they was because the Prides lived down the street. Jody and Brian Pride lived down the street, and those kids were there. And my goodness, I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, Kenny Bill Hawks, they lived on the corner, and his kids, he had 3 boys, and they lived there. And there were several kids. Yeah, we were the hangout place, and I liked it that way.
My house has been the hangout place too. I like having kids at the house, and it's fun.
Yeah.
So, not just my kids. I have kids from all over the neighborhood, and none of them knock. They just walk on in.
Oh yeah,
and that's okay.
That's how it should be.
I like it like that. And they call me Mama B. I'm okay with that. I'll be anybody's mama.
I was okay with it until I started picking up all their Capri Suns out of my yard.
Oh, well, I will say there has been some issues at our place. It's been the packages of granola bars, like the wrappers.
Gosh. Yes.
I find those like shoved in between my couch cushions. I find them in my front yard. I'm like, listen, y'all, I'm going to stop feeding you.
Yeah.
If you can't, and part of the problem is my own kids. I'm not blaming. It's not all the neighbors.
Yeah. Can't blame them all.
No,
can we?
It's my own kids too. I'm like, stop.
Yeah, littering. I remember my mom would always be like, if you're going to get that can of soda, drink the whole thing. And oh man, you're dumping cans of soda. And so then I started buying the cheap Kool-Aid stuff. And I was picking up plastic bottles all over.
Yeah, kids. They have their downsides.
Kids, they definitely have their downside. Definitely, they definitely do.
Yes.
So that's pretty neat. I think we have another street to talk about when we come back from commercial break.
Yep.
I think we do. So
we'll be right back.
All righty.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
Okay, and we're back. Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm Beth.
I'm Stacey, and we're just talking about street names.
We are.
Plugging along.
We are. So the next one we're going to talk about is Worthy Street. So
Worthy.
Everybody's been on Worthy Street. It's the road that is newer. They widened it several years ago. It goes to Walmart. It goes right down the north side of town.
Yeah.
I love Worthy Street because it's near my neighborhood, but also one thing that bugs me about it though is the speed limit is only 25 on Worthy Street, and I think it's 35 on any other street. And I don't understand that because it's like the widest, nicest road in town, so you'd think it would be the opposite. Like let's add a few more miles per hour to it. And
that does make sense.
Yeah, that's my formal complaint. Thank you for this talk. Okay, but really, though, about the history of it. So that street was named after David Worthy. And I have a picture of David here. This is David Worthy, and he was the very first soldier from Clay County that was killed in the Vietnam War. And he was young, looks like a super sweet kid.
Boy, he does look young there.
Yes, and they talked about him one year in the cemetery tour, and he actually...
I missed that one.
Oh, it was so good. He was a tunnel rat, is what they were called.
Who was he like?
Jonathan Smith played his part.
Oh, wow.
And he was like the very last one out of the cemetery, and it was a tearjerker. I mean, he was a tunnel rat, so his jaw, he was slight, narrow man, and he would, like, I guess they had all these tunnels that were full of the enemy, and he would like go down in them to see if they were occupied or not occupied, or if there was artillery in there.
Wow.
Yeah,
he was a little guy.
Yeah, it was a very, very dangerous job. It was, I mean, but he did it bravely, and so he did not return home, and so in turn the city decided to name a street in his honor, and it was Worthy Street.
How old was he whenever he...
I don't have that written down. I don't remember. I want to say he was only like 20 or 21.
Wow.
But I don't know. So,
wow. Yeah, because he looked really young there.
Yeah.
And a tunnel rat, huh?
Yeah, tunnel rat. Yeah, and I think if you were to like Google that, I think there's even a YouTube video about it, interviews with people, like what that was all about.
Ooh, that'd be difficult.
Mm-hmm. And if the cemetery tour ever like repeats, and like I know like if they had an anniversary or something and they wanted to bring back certain skits for a second time, that would be a really good one, because it was
I don't know
amazing,
how I missed
the whole
one.
story of him.
Well, I mean, maybe that was one of the originals, because it's only been recently, like we actually, because a lot of us that are in the cemetery tours, and Beth and I have been in all of them, we don't get to hear a lot of the other stories that are happening because we're already out at the cemetery doing our own thing.
Yes.
But now Jessica Muskoff, who
organizes
that up,
it and runs it.
Yeah, we actually all meet at the depot and do run-throughs. And so we can actually listen to each other's skits.
Right.
It's fascinating. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
We'll probably, chances are on every episode of our show, by the way.
Yeah, by the way.
We will probably be hitting that cemetery, talking about it a lot, because it is absolutely fascinating. You will not be disappointed, and do not let the line
intimidate you. Because,
absolutely.
Yeah. It used to be the lines were so long people would wait for hours and hours, but I think they've kind of tweaked that over the years, where the line might be long, but you're not waiting as long.
You do not wait as long.
The trailers hold more people.
The trailers hold more people. And at the depot where we all start and line up, they actually have a couple skits going on there. So they set up hay bales, and you sit down. You're not standing the whole time, and you can sit down.
Right. And it's all historical. There's nothing scary about this cemetery tour. It's just a history. People reenacting.
No, it's fascinating.
History from our town.
It is absolutely it is fascinating. I do. There was a funny story. I've been at the depot a couple times, and then I've been out in the cemetery, and I was portraying. Did you have another before I tell my story? Did you have another?
No, we can be done with Worthy Street.
So it was the September when I turned 50, so it was 5 years ago.
Okay.
And I had come up with bone spurs and arthritis in my neck. I was in a lot of pain, and I was playing Myrtle Banhart at the time, and so I was by myself. I was in a skit by myself, and so at the end of the cemetery tour, like the last trailer, they'll pick up the actors and they'll jump on board and they'll tear down that little area. Then they'll follow the train, the cart back.
Okay.
And then they'll pick up those actors. And so my husband came through, and I didn't have a car out there. He dropped me off, and I was sitting in my little chair. And I did my skit for the last time, and the people were pulling away in the trailer with the actors that had been previously picked up. And Jim was one of them. He said, "Stacey, do you want to get up here?" And I said, "No, Jim." I said, "I don't even think I can sit on that." I said, my neck, my shoulders burning, everything. I just really want to go home." He said, "Okay, well, I'll go ahead and ride around," because they at that time we weren't parking. Now they let us pull our cars into the cemetery, but we weren't at that time. We were dropped off. And so he jumped on there, and I tore my little stuff down. Jessica came, picked up all my little bags of light. And then the trailer went around the corner, and I could hear them happening. And then those people all got picked up, and all their lights went away. Went on down the road.
Oh, no, they forgot you?
Basically, Jim was on the wagon. I had to wait for every skit to be done. And with every skit, it got darker. It got darker in the cemetery.
And there you are, all alone.
So then I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, and I'm watching them. They're all the way on the south side. And they pick up, now you hear the clapping, yay, bravo, bravo. And they do that. And, you have the police officer with the lights.
Yeah, the ESDA people they stay on the main street to help, so no traffic hits any of the trailers with people on them.
And Blue Mound has that police officer, so you got the lights from that. And then they packed up and all their lights. And then I saw the wagon go by on Blue Mound. I'm like, okay, there goes Jim. and then there goes Jessica with all the stuff picked up.
Oh, no.
And then I'm thinking, okay, I still have my ESDA man. It's all good. I've got ESDA down there. He'll be there for a minute. Next thing you know,
he loads up. How'd you get home?
The sirens come down. And what the funniest thing, so I am by myself in the cemetery, and it's about
probably 1 or 2.
1 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, and my mind just starts going crazy. And I'm like, okay, remember that scene from Carrie? Oh my gosh, remember this scene from this? Remember this scene from that? Well, the funny thing about it is, next thing you know, I wasn't out there very long, because when they went by, Jim was like, oh, I left my wife in the cemetery. Get me off this wagon, get me to my truck. Oh. So Jim went back, and next thing you know, he's hightailing it down Blue Mountain, because he knows that I'm crazy. He knows that I'm crazy, but
he probably felt bad,
oh man, this is nice. Oh, what a beautiful night. Oh, they're good. Oh, dark. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh wow, that's a little. Oh my God,
it's pretty dark. It's pretty dark. So I've been out there by myself too. So the first year that we ever did it, it was kind of new, and it was new to everyone. And she asked me to be the person that had the very first baby that was born in the cemetery, and to rep. So her name was Sarah. She had a 1-year-old baby that had died, and that's the whole reason that they started Elmwood Cemetery, because at that time there wasn't even a cemetery around. And so my job that night was to sit there, and I had a wooden rocking chair, and here I am dressed like the 1800s, early 1800s, and I had this kind of creepy little baby doll all wrapped up in a big blanket, and I'm sitting there in the rocking chair.
Oh my Lanta.
Just rocking this baby, and the people would come through, and I'd do my lines, and part was all fine. But as the night went on and it got darker and darker, I mean, cemeteries are really dark.
They're really dark.
There's not any real light out there, and I mean, not that it's far enough out of town that you're not getting any light from the street lights or anything.
Not getting much street light.
It was pitch dark until the lightning started.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, that was the year that coming out of the west was a storm, which never actually materialized until after we were all home. But it was probably midnight, 1 o'clock, and the light. All the light I had was lightning and thunder, and I'm still sitting there in the cemetery alone, rocking that creepy baby. Good times.
That is funny.
I would do it all again, though.
Oh, it's the best.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Well, I have another experience. Like the very first time we did, I was with Ben and Jill Van Heining, and Ben was a gentleman. I can't remember the name. I don't even remember my name. I didn't even have one because it just said the family on the tomb.
Oh, right.
And he killed them all. He killed his wife. And
my.
Yeah, he went crazy one time. He killed his wife. He killed his daughter. He killed his son. He killed his grandchild. He killed the whole family. So anyway, but the first night, it was freezing.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you never know how to
freezing.
dress.
You don't. And so we're back, and we're like, let me get my bearings. South. We are west, and we are like down in this, before that new part that slants down farthest west. We were at that last road there, and it was freezing, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And then the next night, it was smuggy and buggy. Mm-hmm. I came home. I mean, literally, you're just like, hi, I'm this. You're slapping yourself. And Ben's talking. I'm hitting mosquitoes off of you. Yeah. We were eating a lot.
Did you take any off with you?
Of course not. Oh. Why would I think to do that?
You rookie.
It was. This was the very first one.
I don't go out there without bug spray.
Well, I never did again. I have bug spray. I have everything. I have my car. I have a flashlight. Yes. I have everything now. But no, the first night, because we didn't get bit by bugs because it was freezing. Mm-hmm. I swear it must have been a huge. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Well, those are our stories, but now let's get to the rules to live by.
Oh yes,
rules to live by. Now this is kind of a 3-part ditty. Okay. Let's say rules to live by. Don't believe all you hear, spend all you have, or sleep all you want. So let's just go don't believe all you hear. Which is absolutely true.
So true.
What is that? It's like well, gosh, there's the right side, the wrong, or what, your story, my story, the truth.
Oh, right. Yeah,
whatever.
Everybody has a different version of the truth.
Everybody has a.
Yeah, so don't.
Yeah,
believe
do not believe
everything.
everything.
And that's
hear.
especially true today with all this artificial intelligence that's out there. Like,
oh my gosh.
Like you can get online and make a video. You can take somebody's face and body and make them say things. It could be the president of the United States, and you can type in what you want him to say. And and then you can make the video. It looks like they just gave a news conference and said blah, blah, blah. And no one can tell the difference.
Right.
It's scary stuff.
Well, have you seen that new phone advertised? That's like, oh, take this picture. You see this weirdo in the background? We can take him out. We can put this one in. It's like literally you can,
Wow. No. Technology is a little scary these days.
I think technology is very, very, very scary.
Yeah, I think it's went far enough.
I think it's gone too far. The other rule to live by is spend all you have.
They're saying don't spend all you have.
No, it said spend all you have.
Rules to live by.
Don't
believe all that you hear and spend all. I think they're saying don't believe all you hear. Don't
spend all you have and don't sleep all you want.
I think that's what it's saying.
Really, I'm going the other way, and I'm going, don't believe all you hear, spend all you have. But it probably is don't spend all you have.
Did you write down the original punctuation that was in that?
Yes, English, please.
Was there a colon? Like don't.
No,
colon, do these three things. Like, okay.
I said, and then sleep all you want. I mean, that would be a nice way to live, wouldn't it?
It would.
But you'd get nothing done.
You wouldn't.
You would never get anything done.
No, I wouldn't get anything done. But I'm not really a napper either.
I'm not a napper.
I'm up. Once I'm up, and then.
Well, I'm like that too. And if on the weird moment that I might take a nap and I have to be really, really, well, you know what? I'm going to have to take that back because I find myself falling asleep now in the afternoon on Sunday after church. It's really weird. But I'm 55. Am I 55? Am I 54? I think I'm 54. I'm 50. And on next week's episode, we'll talk about how Stacey is losing her mind. But I do notice that does happen a little bit.
I saw a funny thing on Facebook the other day about, and it made me think of my in-laws. And if they're watching, they'll probably get a giggle out of this too, because sometimes, and when I say sometimes, I think it's actually every night, they fall asleep on the couch before they go to bed. Like they'll watch TV and they'll fall asleep on the couch. And their thing on Facebook said, I like to fall asleep on the couch before I go to bed. It's kind of like a bedtime appetizer, a napetizer, if you will. So the next time you fall asleep on the couch before bed, just call it your napetizer.
The napetizer. I like
an
that.
appetizer for your instead of a meal. It's an appetizer.
I've been noticing on Facebook too, like ladies that are my age that are going through menopause and stuff. It's like 8:00. Oh my gosh, you can't even keep. You're just like, I can't keep my eyes open. I can't keep and then so you might doze off, and then about 11 o'clock at night, you're like, I think I'll clean the house.
Oh,
what is that about?
Yeah, hormones are some crazy things.
Nothing.
Now.
Weird. I mean, everything's just weird. It's like I don't know how you. It's like with every step you get just a little bit more energized. And but not a fan of that.
What was the middle thing there? Don't spend all that you have, or do.
Well, it said.
It depends on how you read it.
It depends on. Okay. So we could take that either way. Don't spend all you have, which is you really don't want to just go out and waste your money.
Yeah, I don't think that you should spend all you have, but maybe if you're getting ready to die, it means just go ahead and spend it all.
Well, what's that? Life insurance commercial? Your children are grown. Now you want to enjoy your life. Let us buy your life insurance. And every kid's going, no! Or you could sell your life insurance because you didn't, if you had taken out life insurance and then you didn't use it. So.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting thought. And sleep all you want. I don't want to sleep. I like to go. Well, what's that saying? I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah, but
I'm too busy to sleep all the time.
I'm busy, but boy, if I don't get my sleep, then I can't be busy.
I'm a 9-hour sleeper. I like 8 to 9 hours.
Me too.
I feel like I'm robbed if I don't get them. And I'm that weirdo that if we have to get up and leave early for anything, if I lose 1 hour, it literally messes with me.
Yes, me too. Like I'll be yawning by mid-afternoon if I don't get my full night's sleep.
Yeah,
so.
I can pretty much go once my feet hit the ground. I can go and go all day long, and it's almost time for us to go again for this is our
I know.
We're done. I don't even know what time.
Where does the hour go? We just chit chatting anyway.
Started.
I hope you enjoy listening to Stacey and I. We just like to discuss all things, obviously, but also history. So anyway, thank you for joining us.
All right,
We'll
God
see you next
bless you.
time.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.